recommend opening up a savings account to use it as a protection method against overdraft. And you can connect the accounts so that the money will be transferred over automatically in case of overdraft. And as far as saving is concerned, I recommend small, minute amounts for this account. You have to get an amount down the pat, an automatic transfer or a deposit in place that you won't miss. Because I've noticed, even with myself, if I take a large amount of money and I move it to my savings and I think that I'm building my wealth that way, I'll wind up moving the money back because I wind up needing it, versus if you know you like to go to a restaurant and you might spend $20, you might not miss that $20. But if you instead transfer that money over to the savings as an added protection, by Christmas, if you do it in January, you have $200 saved in case of overdraft. Suppose your rent check comes through late or any other emergency that takes place. That is a good reserve to have versus having to deal with the inflated fees from the banks. Because overall, with all my research throughout all the banks, from what I've seen, around about $35 to $36 is like the basic for most banks. So it's not a way to get away from those fees other than to avoid them. That's the best way. That's the best advice I give them. A lot of them like the saving method because it allows them to take it into their own hands, and it's also practical. It's something that anyone can do.
Folks, you're listening to J.TALKS to the People Radio. Call-in number is 773-897-6235. So, Ms. Raine, you get quite a few customers who don't quite know the ins and outs of the accounts that they take out with the bank. They call in with a lot of questions, and they get a lot of unexpected fees. How exactly do you resolve the issues that they have, or do you make them see that, or recommend them that they look over the paperwork that they originally received when they first took out their account? How do you resolve in that?
Yeah, the first thing that I do is I have to answer their question as to why. I ask them, do you know why your account was overdraft? A lot of times they take a look at their online banking and they think that it's another item. It might be something that's fraudulent related, which can be taken care of, or it could be something that's legitimate that they may have forgot. Once we get to a point where they agree that all of those transactions are correct, then I take a look at the history on the account. I see what their spending habits are, and maybe there was a place in time where they thought they got more money in or out. Another thing that I do as far as the policies that are in place for the account, I offer to send out the new paperwork, but in a lot of cases, a lot of people, they say that they're busy, they don't have time, so I don't have a problem actually taking the paperwork out and verbalizing it to get the point across what the requirements are for that account, and also comparing it with other types of accounts that are out in the market, which would basically give them a view of what is best for them and how to avoid it. In most cases, I'm able, even without, if the fee was actually valid and there was no agreement to get the fee value back to the customer, they'll be empowered with the information to know how to avoid it and how it happens. Because once you know that, that's all you need to know. Once you know how to avoid it and you know why it's happening, then you know the recourse that you should take and you know what you should keep an eye out on. And that's the main things. A lot of times I have to take the contract out myself and read it out to them. And I'm also willing to send it out to them. And I'll also reiterate that although they may not remember it now, it did have to be discussed by law with a representative or either online when they initially started it. This is a contract that you're signing. everything's a contract, and you get held to that contract. So you have to be very careful when you enter into a contract with these banks and you don't know the requirements for the accounts.
Yeah, you have
I know
to
we
be
wouldn't
very
sign a
cautious.
loan. Yeah, it's just like a loan. It's not a loan, but it's a contract. So any contract with the bank, if you get a loan and the interest rate is out of this world, you would decline it. So if you get a bank account and the requirements, or you have to have $5,000 deposit in there, and you have to do this, you have to do that, that's when you make your exit plan, or you ask for something that's more agreeable to you.
Yeah, be very careful when you're signing a contract. Look it over. If you need legal direction or advisement, go ahead and take it. You want to be in the best possible agreement and business transaction that you can be in, because the banks, all they're looking to do is go after the profit, maximize the profit as best as they possibly can. What bank or banks do you recommend that people should set up their account with?
All right. Well, the banks that I recommend to them, I found something that was rather interesting when I was doing some research. I found that there is a really good deal that they have on deposit accounts for Capital One Bank with an actual checking account there. They don't have ATM fees, and they also have minimum requirements. So that definitely is something. If you're a person that's struggling with the overdraft and you have issues there, besides building up your reserve and possibly opening up a line of credit to back up your account, you could possibly looking into actually getting into agreement with Huntington. They have the 24-hour rule, but again, it's 24 hours, so you would have to have that money in there by the next day, or the overdraft fee still applies to the account. So it's not a way to waive it out. And also PNC has a really good virtual wallet program. Their regular checking account that they have, regular virtual wallet checking account requirements are either $500 deposit, $500 average monthly balance, or if you manage your account electronically, you don't have any requirements on the account. You get one checking, one reserve account for overdraft protection, and then a savings account that has the largest interest rate of the ones that they have there. So that's also a good account too, because you could use the reserve for overdraft backup. You don't have to go into the bank. Most people work during bank hours anyway, and you don't have any requirements. So if you're a student or you're a person that doesn't make that much, or you have other accounts out there, it might be something that you would be interested in. Those are really good options.
That's good information. Good information. Now, what is the best way that one should go after, finding the best APR interest rate?
Yeah, you can you can just call in. A lot of people, because if you go by just regular paperwork or you go through the websites, you'll have to be able to navigate and know exactly what you want. If you really want to know, you could just list the banks that you want to deal with, and you can call in and you can ask them to calculate it, because the interest rate for the savings account, the annual percentage yield, is based off of what you plan to deposit into the account. There's some accounts that you only get 0.01%, and it's for deposits that are under $1,000. But if you have the same account and you have a deposit over $1,000, you can get as much as 0.80% APY. So it all depends on what you plan on depositing into the account. And I think the best way is just to have them calculate it. You can do research online, and all of that information is available. So if you don't want to use the phone, you can do that as long as you know how much you plan on depositing in there. It's relatively easy because they have to present those to you.
Okay, so the best bet is just speaking with someone that can go over everything in detail and make them get an idea or have them understand a good idea of your financial plan. Is that right?
Mhm. Yeah, just so that you can have like an individual thing, because you can look at the paperwork and they could show you, they could say it's 0.8%. And another thing that I want to say is those CD rates for the credit unions, like I said before, they're better than the regular banks. So I would be looking and comparing with those ones with a bank that I'm currently banking with to see whether it's anything better, because I was actually looking into getting a CD as a way of saving some money, putting something away for 24 months and hopefully gaining a profit off of it, which is pretty much guaranteed with the CD. But you just have to be basically you have to be able to enter agreement and not draw out of the account before it hits maturity. So that's another good option.
Yes, indeed. Yes, it is. Very, very good information. I believe it certainly is valuable. I believe more than enough persons can use it. And if you're already using it, if you already have some of these ideas and knowledge that Ms. Rain is bringing across, I wish you all the success in the future in getting everything that you want as far as financially or as far as amenities and luxuries or whatever else that's you aspire to have or gain. You know, if you want to go into business or, you know, these are just the key points and elements in the beginning. We're pretty much at the end, coming close to the end. Ms. Rain, any final thoughts, advice, recommendations, key things to remember, anything like that?
Nothing in particular. Just like you said, I wish everybody the best. That's why I came on this show, to kind of give them some information out there. I think the most important thing to take away from this conversation is if you have an account, no matter what it is, whether it's a prepaid card, savings or deposit account, whether it's a federal credit union or a national bank, is to know what your rights are and use it to your advantage. That's what I always tell the customers, because that's what it is. That's your money, and you need to know how it works so that you can work it for you, because the bank is going to work it for them. It's their job. They have people on it 24 hours a day. And the moment you slip up, it could be a catastrophe. So definitely take advantage of that information and take advantage of the sources there. Ask some questions and see whether you can get to where you need to be financially just by being literate, financially literate. A lot of places actually offer classes, and if you have time, you could actually learn a lot of things just from the website as of. So, you know, that's pretty much what I wanted to share.
Okay. Well, I do want to thank Ms. Rain for coming on. Hopefully we'll have you back. I thank all of you for tuning in, listening in, and hopefully see you next time around. Again, like she said, it's your money. You got to know what to do with it. And again, you can send all your questions, comments to jtalks@yahoo.com. And it's been another great one. We're out of here.
All right, bye-bye.
and don't look for the temporary happiness. That is the secret message hidden behind Adam and the apple. If it's an apple. Is it an apple? Yeah, okay. Forbidden apple. Bhagavad Gita says the same thing. I have created you to act, but not for its fruit. They use the same word, fruit. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma paleshu. No fruit for you. Your duty is to act. Function as I commanded you. And whatever the outcome is, offer it to others. You should not expect to eat for you. Or in simple words, live a selfless life. Don't do everything with a selfish motive behind. It is the selfishness that wants you to eat the fruit of your own action. Instead, offer the fruit to others. That is the symbol behind even taking some fruits to the altars and offering it to the God. I offer my fruit to you, God. So it is the selflessness that keeps your mind always serene. It is the selfishness that constantly creates problems in our mind. Selfishness means anything that you do, look for some return. Whatever you do a little thing, you want to send a thank you note. You expect a thank you note. Look at that. I sent it. That fellow didn't even have the courtesy to send me a thank you note. See? You sent it with all loving. And then when you didn't get the thank you note, you got so upset. That means you lost the joy of having sent something because you expected the thank you note and you didn't get it. You see, expectation means problem. That's why everybody who expects has to go through labor pain. Everybody who expects has to go through labor pain until they deliver it. Because you are expecting. And why are you expecting? Because before you expect, you conceived. It's your conception makes you to expect, and your expectation makes you go through the labor. And then once you deliver what you conceived, you are free back. No problem again. That's what. The mind conceives an idea and expects it, and it, of course, it builds it up for 9 months inside, brooding over the idea. Then you want that to happen, and then when it happens, you deliver it, then you are back at your original peaceful condition.